recession indicator flashing a big warning. What's up, everybody? Welcome aboard to Bubbas Bottom Line for Sunday, August the 10th. And of course, another up week in the markets. So we've been up most of the time, except for last week, but we'll get into that in our market report. But U1, a measure that's from the BLS, is flashing warnings of a recession. I think that, again, I think if you make probably under $100,000 or $150,000 a year, you're probably feeling the effects and the bad things that are going on in this country. The high costs, the inflation that's never come down, the high interest rates, which again are really not that high, and we'll get into that as well. But I don't think the economy is as good as you think it is. And other than the stock market, I think that, which again, remember, the stock market and the economy don't have to be in the same direction at any given time. So I think there's a lot of problems out there, and I've said it all along. I don't think this is new, and I don't see inflation coming in. I see it going higher, no matter what the Fed does in September. And of course, there's a 90% of a rate cut. But think about this: just because the Fed cuts the lending rate to banks doesn't mean that you're going to be a benefactor of it. Okay. Remember, the Fed and the government are not your friend. Okay. They are taking your money, as they did in '08 when they bailed out the banks. Okay. The Federal Reserve, which is supposed to be a private corporation, when they bailed out the banks. And of course, the government, which makes nothing but debt. And of course, as much as I love what's going on right now, I do not like the spending. I don't want to see more spending. I want to see less spending. I think we need a little bit more fiscal responsibility. But in the meantime, everybody talks about AI and what a great tool it is. And listen, I don't use it, but I'm sure it's a great tool. But what about using it for creating biological weapons and chemical warfare? Think about that. Okay. If it can learn that fast, if it can learn to trade, if it can learn to handicap, if it can learn to do everything else, why can't it learn for biological weapons? I mean, again, remember that we're in a world that is a little whacked anyways. You look what's going on around the globe. So, hey, just a thought, okay? I think something interesting to look at as well as the inflation and the U1 recession warning is that the number one sector being invested in this year is utilities. Utilities are invested in when there is fear around the markets. And I don't make predictions. I have positions, and they're based on something, but I'm not predicting what the next thing is. I mean, we all know that markets go higher, but why is the biggest sector in utilities? Something to be thought about. Continued unemployment claims continue to jump. Okay, we're now back to levels we were in 2021. Sanctioning Russia act threatens Moscow allies with 500% tariffs. It should be 1,000% tariffs. If you're going to threaten them, you have to be willing to follow through with them. That's the key. Is not the threat. The key is following through and standing by your threat. Homes continue to show price declines, 35% of the United States. I mean, again, listen, there are some places that houses will never decline. There are some places that are that good. But again, in general, for the average consumer, prices are declining. It's not a good situation. Again, it ties right back to interest rates. Again, when you're day trading houses, the reason the housing went up so high was because of the low interest rates. It made it easier to buy because we are a buy the month society, and now that everything is reversed back over, so it's just like an equity market. They go up and down. Okay, Tesla got the robo taxis in the permits for Texas. So interesting. We'll see a lot more driverless cars running around. I don't know if I like that or not, but maybe it'll stop some of the traffic jams. Gold had a big move up, and that was on tariff news on bullion. Look, again, you're going to see a lot of these things. And I think one of the things you're seeing is the edginess in some of these markets. Okay. Biden's $7 billion solar panel industry is going to be disbanded. Thank God. I mean, that's a scam anyways. Again, we go back to the same story. Okay. If you're a green, if you're an environmentalist, you believe that we are not green, then you have to go to nuclear power. It is the only logical solution that there is that you won't have a problem with. Okay. But again, you've got too much money and too many graphs and too many scams tied up in the wind farms and the solar. Okay. It's all bullshit. Okay. Our growth is slowing. So again, we can ignore problems all we want. Okay. But at the end of the day, eventually those problems come home to roost. Okay. And when you see 120 million square feet of store closings in the US and in pace for a new record high for 2025, those are all retail stores that are closing that can't make any money because of the online presence, because of the recession, the online presence, and other situations. Okay. That is preventing people from making a living. Okay. And those jobs don't come back. Okay. So you already have many companies scaling down, small businesses going out. You can see what's going on. So what does that mean? Well, it's not good. Okay. Again, it'll run through cycles like always. But again, it's just something to think about. Again, I'm not telling you to panic. I'm not telling you to be worried. I'm just saying, hey, these are real issues out there and real problems, and they need to be dealt with. And it needs to start with the top and quit spending so much of our damn money. In the meantime, this is Bubba's Bottom Line for Sunday, August the 10th. We're going to step out here for a break. We'll be back with our market report right after the break. Bubba's Bottom Line. What's up, kids? Hope everything's well. I hope you're having a great time. Football's back, and of course, our sponsors are still here. You know, I have brokerage partners, sponsors for the show, and I do have other brokers, but just a reminder, Capital Trading Group for your futures and commodities needs, TRADIER Brokerage for your equities and options, and of course, they're $10 a month flat. I mean, it saves me over $100,000 a year. For your gold and silver needs, ITM Trading, which is also with our friend Daniela Cambone. Our Spooky Express for you now that football season's back for most of you. For your gambling needs, if you need an offshore account, Spooky Express is the place to go. Our high school program, and of course, our brand new sponsorship and partnership with the Joy of Mom, which is a great organization helping moms around the globe. In the meantime, let's get back to Bubba's Bottom Line with me, Todd Bubba Horwitz, and our market report. Welcome back. It is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Sunday, August the 10th. And of course, our market report is a interesting story. The markets continue to climb higher. If you've noticed, all the rallies come on no volume. Doesn't matter. Again, remember, you don't fight the tape, you don't fight the action. All the rallies are on no volume. The sell-offs are on lighter, unreasonable volume compared to the rallies, but not. The volume in the market is really dried up. This is a concern. It's not just summer. It's been this way for months. I think there's something going to happen in the markets. I think there's something going to be done. Again, I can't tell you when, but we see these things happen over and over again, and the warning signs are flashing. It's what do we decide to do with them? But at the end of the day, until further notice, the markets will probably make new highs again. The four major indices were higher, all pushing towards their highs, with the exception of the Russell. We're still short. The dollar, which we don't trade, but if we did trade the dollar, we would be long dollars right now. It was lower for the week. Euro currency, we are short. Bonds and notes, which are lower, but again, they're going to probably start to rise a little bit, but we're flat. We have no position in bonds and notes. Bitcoin, pretty flat week. We're still short. Gold charged up, made new highs on Friday on some bullshit and came right back down, but still running nicely, close to 3,500. We're still long gold. Silver had a nice little pop. We're still short silver, platinum. We don't trade it, but if we did, we'd be a buyer down here in the 1300s. Copper, big rally up. We are long. Grain markets continue to struggle. We have no position. Excuse me. We're short wheat, long corn. Okay, and flat soybeans. I would think that somewhere down around these levels, you may want to start to look to buy if you're a speculator. The cattle markets continue to run like they're Bitcoin. I mean, it's amazing. Although they got clobbered on Friday, it's amazing how far they've come. And one day you're going to walk in, they're going to take a big beating. But again, we have no position in any of the meats of the protein complex. Nat gas is lower. It's now below $3. And we have no position in crude oil. Was lower for the weekend. We have no position there either. We're flat. Again, at the end of the day, less and less positions should be taken in these conditions of a market that we have. There isn't much going on. So there's not a lot to do. There's not a lot of reason to be overly involved. What you really want to focus on is you want to look for high probability setups, either oversold markets, overbought markets, doesn't matter which side, whichever side is extended, you want to look for the opposite. That's for a trade. I'm not talking about for an investment. I'm talking for a trade. Okay. But you should be very careful here. And there is no shame in observing the market and not participating as long as you're investing. Okay. And taking advantage of the 8.5% year over year. Okay. As long as you're not puking out, you should not be trading your 401k or your IRA. You should be letting it sit. In the meantime, this is Bubba's Bottom Line for Sunday, August the 10th. We're going to step out here for our final break and come back with my commentary right after the break. Bubba's Bottom Line. Well, kids, again, you remember our sponsors, TRADIER Brokerage, Capital Trading Group, ITM Trading, The Joy of Mom. But I did want to make everybody aware that we're going to start doing a lot more education and we're going to be setting up some prop firms and things like that as well. So make sure you stay tuned and we'll get back to that. In the meantime, let's get back to Bubba's Bottom Line and, of course, my commentary. Welcome back. It is Bubba's Bottom Line. Todd Bubba Horwitz. It is Sunday, August the 10th. And of course, every week I give you a little bit to think about. And of course, we all know what's going on with the Fed. And there's going to be a new Fed governor, let alone a new Fed chair next year. But of course, you know that Fed governor is going to be a dove. Okay, dovish means they want rates to go lower. Hawks means they want rates to go higher. Doves are typically not fiscally responsible. But at the end of the day, okay, I think this is a bad situation and a bad setup, and I think it just shows you why we don't need a Federal Reserve. Okay, this is an appointed position, and I think that the Federal Reserve itself, which is supposed to be private, a private corporation, which is owned by the banks. So think about who owns it. So where does the American consumer, the American taxpayer, get benefit when the Federal Reserve is owned by the banks? Okay, and managed kind of by the government, okay, where do we get the best of it? Okay, remember, we didn't need a Federal Reserve when they came out with it. It was a bill of goods sold to Woodrow Wilson. We don't need it now. Okay, the free market can give you what market should be. The free market will determine what interest rates should be. The free market will determine what prices should be. Okay, any asset class can be priced in the free market. We don't need a Federal Reserve. We certainly don't need these imbeciles that are in there now. If you need somebody in there to interpret what the free market is saying, that's fine. But to try to screw with the market or play with the market, I think is bullshit. I think it's wrong. And I think the Fed, at worst, needs to be audited, if not ended. That's the way I see it. This is Todd Bubba Horwitz. It is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Sunday, August the 10th. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you later.